What is up, gamers and gentlemen? Today we're looking at a game that recently went live on Steam that I had the chance to get an early look at several years ago. That game is Graywalkers Purgatory from Dreamlords Digital. While the game is now available for all to play, it is currently in early access, and many features are still missing to be added at a later date. Full disclosure, this review is unpaid, but I did receive my key in exchange for taking a look at it. While I love celebrating all things indie, everything I'm here to say is my own unbiased opinions, and this game has its positive and critiquable moments. So without further ado, let's get into it. Graywalkers Purgatory is a tactical, turn-based 3D RPG set in a post-apocalyptic world, where parts of heaven, hell, and earth have merged together in an event called The Rupture. Your adventure begins in the new island of Purgatory, an area made up of displaced landmasses located in the Bermuda Triangle. In this game, you play the leader of the Graywalkers, 36 different hidden righteous ones, destined to protect humanity. It's the player's task to gather them all, unite the different factions of Purgatory, and lead them to reclaim the world for humanity against the supernatural forces that have dominated the world. The game features a variety of characters and enemies, such as angels, demons, werewolves, raiders, zombies, and a whole host of heroes with skills ranging from crackshot snipers to sword maidens with holy power. Gameplay is very reminiscent of other grid-paced tactical RPGs such as XCOM, requiring the player to maneuver characters into the most beneficial positions for their unique take on combat. When the fight is over, you gain a more free-form movement style, letting you roam the contained map to seek out more enemies, find hidden loot caches, and arrive at objectives. Armor and accessories protect your character, while a variety of damaging and support items and spells give you a more offensive push. Each person is also backed up with a character sheet, displaying their personal attributes as well as various skills you can direct the growth of. Alright, this, as you can see, is the main menu screen. You can see a variety of the characters that we can eventually play as. For right now, as in the game's current state, you can only play as either Father Reuben in the missions or Sister Aris in the prologue missions. So if you go into new game, you'll see mission mode. Eventually, you'll be able to play with a team of Graywalker characters, taking them on a variety of missions and objectives. But right now, if we go into start a new mission mode game, so you just have this one character here, Father Reuben. He's a level 5 Slayer, human. He's the only character you have right now. If you go to assign, there aren't any other characters here. You can go to team, go to available. There's no one here. Team inventory, not here yet. If we go down to choose mission, we see Walk Over the Graves, which has you investigating a graveyard. I tried to do this. You fight a bunch of skeletons. I assume there's probably a necromancer in there as well. But you couldn't actually get to them. That was my fault. I'm maybe not doing it correctly, but I could not get that far in. The skeletons would kill me. Highway Robbery, I have not played. Urban Excursion, I have. This one's actually fairly simple. Father Reuben can handle himself quite well here. I basically just ran bandits down, double tapping them, and opening crates. I didn't know if there was a way to actually complete that mission, because I gathered as many boxes as I can find, killed all the threats I could find, and it didn't end the mission. These other ones, Mine, Sword Sister, Getting Your Feet Wet, Gas Up, in Dark Forest, I have not played yet, so I don't know what awaits me in those. But for right now, I think waiting until more characters are available is going to be the best way to play these. Otherwise, these look to be objective-based missions. I assume you earn rewards from those. If we return to main menu, you have to do this to get back to the main menu. You can then go to new game and then get back to this screen. I would like a way to get back to this without going to the main menu. That'd be nice. God, let me say, I love the variety of characters. If you go back to the screen where it shows all of the characters standing around a fire, just looking at them, they're amazing. I love just looking at how many different designs. You have what looks to be a pale-skinned, red-eyed vampire guy, a samurai with a demon mask, several characters that are definitely drawing inspirations from the Old West. Very Fallout in some of the characters, a lot of kind of cobbled together outfits and armor and weapons. You have Father Reuben, who looks like a priest who had to adapt to this post-apocalyptic land that they now live in. You have this young girl who seems to be a little decrepit. She might be drawing powers from the more hellish or demonic aspects of Purgatory. You have a girl off to the side with bunny ears. I don't know what's going on with her. A dude with little tiefling horns. It's so cool to see the variety of characters and potential gameplay that we're going to get with all of these people. As far as the gameplay itself, I've never really played a tactical grid-based RPG outside of maybe the Fire Emblem series, and this is obviously very different. I've never played a game like XCOM, which I know this is much more similar to. Typically, those games tend to have a higher degree of difficulty and unforgiving skill curves, which I just smacked my face right into and never learned to climb. This one seems much more forgiving. Maybe it's because Sister Oris's mission was fairly easy. There didn't seem to be a lot of opportunity to really screw up until maybe the last fight, and even then, the monsters tend to focus on one, maybe two characters at a time, and as long as you can keep them healed up, you really don't have to worry too much about losing anybody. The monster designs themselves, with Sister Oris, it was fairly simple. You had these sort of tree monsters, which you'll probably be seeing on screen right now. Basically just big brutes swinging their limbs at you. Really didn't do anything spectacular. Occasionally they would produce some kind of like particle effect around me. I never noticed what that did, if anything, and oftentimes it missed anyway. They'd usually go down in some couple good hits, especially since Sister Oris puts out healing magic, and most of those enemies seem to be weak to it. I'm sure that was done on design to really help you kind of get a feel for that, combat. As you progress further into her mission and you start running into these fire-based cultists and then eventually a succubus boss at the end of her run, it was really just more of the same. The fire guys would throw fireballs at you, mostly focusing on Sister Oris. As long as you kept her healed up, her other sisters could run in and really deal the damage. She could sneak in eventually. You would get to the succubus. She was tossing out some kind of spell that would occasionally tell me the characters were enthralled. I don't know if that's supposed to do something and just doesn't at the moment. If it's supposed to mind control them or charm them or something. But it never really did anything except maybe a little damage. So once her fire mage allies went down, she was basically easy pickings. Just wailing on them with my best abilities and best ammo until she went down. So gameplay so far, not as scary as I thought it was going to be. I really like being able to explore the map after combat is over. I love being able to see where all the enemies are so you can really plan your route. If I couldn't see the enemies because they were hidden by a fog of war, or if they really went with a line of sight mechanic where I couldn't see them because my character couldn't see them, I definitely would have stumbled into a few ambushes, so it's nice to be able to plan your attack that way. If you've watched my Kuma's Never Played series, you'll often hear me say that I'll probably play this game. Oftentimes, I might play that game for another couple days, maybe a week, and then drop it again. Quite often, the reason I haven't played certain games is because they didn't interest me. Sitting down to something like this, I was worried about the same thing. I don't really play this style of game. Post-apocalyptic settings really aren't my jam. Yet something about this game is really tickling my fancy. While the gameplay is not necessarily my favorite style, I really like the way the characters interact with each other. Having options during character interactions in terms of speech really liven up the characters and give you a sense of input, even into the dialogue. So I'm really looking forward to actually seeing this game get its full release and see more content added until we get a final full release and everything can be played. Now remember, back to the main menu screen, there is a campaign feature that is not yet active. There is going to be a main story to this game. It's just not right in the game yet. So I'm really excited to see that as well. What's really getting me here is the story. I really am intrigued by the setting of Earth and Heaven and Hell merging all into one place and creating this landmass called Purgatory right over the Bermuda Triangle, and all these varied characters having to come together and rise up against an evil that wants to take over everything. It kind of tickles that Final Fantasy fan bone in my body, so who knows where this is going to go. Really, really big kudos to the devs. You should be very proud of yourselves. This is not a game I would normally touch, but having actually sat down to do the review, I am really excited to play this. Now let's get into the negatives. I can see where people would have a few problems with this game. Number one, the balancing seems to be a little wonky on some of the spells. My really big character, Nuke, which you'll be seeing here, deals quite a bit of damage when it hits, and it hits fairly reliably. And it doesn't seem to burn through a lot of energy. It deals a lot of damage, and I can just hide in the back and spam it, really. And every time combat ends, your energy just goes back up anyway. So I really don't see a negative to it. I would like to see either more damage or better accuracy for more energy usage. I think that would really give you the option of, well, I'm going to hang back here and do this big bomb. It's going to burn through energy, but as long as I'm hitting, I'm going to get through this fight a lot quicker. Also, the aforementioned problem with the items, I'm really hoping that's just me being an idiot, and if it is, let me know in the comments or reach out to me and let me know exactly what I was doing wrong. Otherwise, if that is an issue, I really want to see that fixed. If you're going to give items, let me use them. If that's something I have to hang on to or use outside of combat, then that should be something that needs to be told to the player. Other than that, most of my problems really stem from the fact that this game is still in early access and a lot of features are not added, and there's still a lot of bugs present. The aforementioned enthralled spell not really doing anything to my characters. Features not being here like a campaign, or even the ability to access the options menu from the main menu. That should be something fairly standard, I would imagine. Being able to access options, let me mess with the audio so I don't have to do it while I'm editing the video. The game is currently out on Steam for $25 early access. I would argue that's a bit much for an early access game that doesn't even have its full campaign out yet, but if that's something you want to grab, go ahead and do it and help out the devs. As for the review itself, this game is definitely something you'd want to pick up if you're a fan of tactical grid-based RPGs and a fan of supernatural, post-apocalyptic settings. This is Kuma for GamerKulture. Stay cultured.